So I've got 3 drones here, and then we've got the 4th one. Let me try to stack them without getting them everywhere. That is very sketchy. There are the 4 drones. This is the ultimate comparison between these 4 drones. And the whole idea of this video is to help you make the right decision for you, because there are so many options right now. And I want to help you get the right drone for you at this current stage in your life, because you'll probably want more drones straight when you dive into the drone space. If you are going to start out with a beginner drone, you probably won't stop there, because they are very fun and they get a little bit addictive. Hello, beautiful internet family. My name is Dan Davis, and I'm really excited today to bring you the ultimate drone buyer's guide for 2023. Today, I've got the Mini 2 SE versus the Mini 3 Pro versus the Air 3 versus the Mavic 3 Pro. So 4 distinctly different drones at different price points, and they do have something very unique going on. So the Mini 2 SE is that budget-friendly drone. It's a perfect starter point for a lot of people. Really decent camera system, you know, very reliable flight time of 31 minutes, but you are lacking in a lot of features that you're getting with the other drones, but it is an improvement over other Mini models that have come out in the past. When we look at the Mini 3 Pro, this is that next level up again. You are getting the exclusive vertical video option, so it's native vertical video, so the camera physically flips to give you the vertical video option. When we look at the Air 3, this is that next level up. You're getting that dual camera system with the wide angle and the medium telephoto system. You're getting 46 minutes of flight time. You're getting that omnidirectional obstacle avoidance, which has pretty much sensors everywhere on the system, and you can avoid in every which way direction that you need to. It does have the vertical video options, as well as the OcuSync 4, which is next level with 20 kilometers of range. The main camera system can capture 5.1K. You're getting the digital zoom up to 28 times, or just the 9 times native. With the third camera system, which is the telephoto system, you can go up to the 9 times zoom, so that is very nice. This video is going to be a little bit of information overload. I've tried to condense it down to make it as digestible as possible for you. I've got a bunch of other comparisons and reviews on the channel if you want to dive into those a little bit deeper. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each product. I've broken it down into the camera, the battery, the specs, all that kind of stuff. And I'll just go through each drone and help you out. So starting off with the Mini 2 SE, this is kind of what I see as the beginner-friendly starter point for a lot of people out there. Now, this is a really good system. We've seen a lot of drones with this similar kind of form factor here, but this is the latest one from DJI. So it does boast a 1/2.3 inch CMOS sensor, and it does have an f-stop of 2.8, so a fixed aperture, and it's capable of capturing 2.7K video up to 30 frames per second. So very similar camera system to what we've seen on the other previous Mini range. So if we look at like the Mini SE, the Mavic Mini, the Mini 2, very similar kind of camera design. So that's come over here to the Mini 2 SE, capable of capturing 2.7K up to 30 frames per second. There are no HDR options, so you can't capture that high dynamic range, and it also maxes out with the max video bitrate at 40 megabits per second. So you'll start to notice as we get into the other drones that that's where they really stand out again. But just in terms of usable quality for the average person, again, this is a beginner-friendly drone. It will do the job. 2.7K is great for most people, especially if you're just dumping it online for your socials, or if you're showing family and friends, you know, the recent holiday that you went on. The Mini 2 SE does the job. One of the biggest calling cards for a drone of this size is the fact that it weighs under 250 grams. So that means that for a lot of countries out there, it will allow you to fly in more scenarios. You won't have to get, you know, a lot of the licenses and all the requirements that happen if you go over that 250 gram mark. So really good starting point. Again, a perfect beginner drone for under 250 grams, 2.7K video is great for most people. You can also utilize some digital zooming options. So it is like a fixed lens, so you can't actually use optical zoom with it, but you can use digital zoom, 2.7K up to 3 times, and full HD, also known as 1080p, up to 4 times digital zoom. You also have no slow motion options on the Mini 2 SE. Now moving on to our next drone, and this is the Mini 3 Pro, one of my favorite drones in a very long time. This guy is just very impressive. I've got a bunch of content on the channel, but the thing that I really love about this system, again, it's under 250 grams. So like I mentioned with the Mini 2 2 SE. You can get away with flying this in a lot more scenarios. You might not have to have a license in certain countries, so it really allows you to get the most out of your drone, but you do get a massive improvement to the camera system and its overall functionality. So it is a significantly better lens that you're getting. It's a 1/1.3 inch CMOS system, and it's got a fixed aperture of f1.7, so it's great in low light. It definitely is an improvement over the Mini 2 SE, and you can also capture 4K up to 60 frames per second. The Mini 3 Pro also features HDR, so you can use that up to the 30 frames per second mark with 4K 30 frames. If you go to 4K 60, it won't be in HDR, but you do get the HDR options on here, and you also get a bunch of other really cool features, including slow motion options. You can capture full HD, again also known as 1080p, up to 120 frames per second, so some really nice slow motion with this guy here. And it's also a massive leap when we talk about the max video bitrate, so it can go up to 150 megabits per second as opposed to the 40 megabits per second on the Mini 2 SE, so quite a big leap when we compare these two. You also get digital zoom on the Mini 3 Pro. Again, no optical options there. It is just the digital zoom where they actually crop the image. So 4K up to 2 times digital zoom and full HD up to 4 times digital zoom. So then when we come on to the newly released, very exciting Air 3, this is where things get a little bit more expensive again, but they do get very interesting here because we get even more options and we actually get a dual camera system here, which is extremely exciting. So the weight actually does go up a fair bit here. It's 720 grams for the Air 3, and it also features 2 camera systems here. So we do get the option for 2 different focal lengths. So we do get the 24mm wide angle option, and then also the 70mm 3 times zoom option, also known as the medium telephoto lens. So 2 different options here with 2 camera systems, and it is a lot of fun to play with both of them. Both camera systems here are the same. They're actually a 1/1.3 inch CMOS sensor. That's actually really nice because it means that when you cut between the 2 different shots, like when you've got the wide angle and then you go into the medium telephoto camera system, it actually does work really nicely. You know, there's a very similar look to both of them, and that makes it really nice when you go between the 2 different options. The 24mm system, which is the wide angle option, is the f1.7, so again the same as the Mini 3 Pro as I said before. The 70mm medium telephoto lens is actually an f-stop of 2.8, and both of them are the fixed aperture, so you don't get any adjustable aperture with either lens here. But the thing that's cool is that it is the same medium telephoto system as the Mavic 3 Pro, so that's really cool to see, and they work really well together. Like I said before, you will have a lot of fun playing with both camera systems here because it does give a whole new perspective. Honestly, it opens up, and you will notice like the dynamic kind of range, I guess, or just the look, like the dynamics of looking at a scene and being able to see layers, like different layers, as opposed to that wide angle option. It definitely does create some creative perspectives, and it makes it a lot of fun to play around with a system like this. Both camera systems can capture 4K up to 60 frames per second, which is again very nice that one isn't limited more than the other. They're both very similar, which again makes it nice when you are cutting between the 2 different options. The 4K up to 60 frames per second is very nice, and then on top of that you're getting some nice slow-mo options. So you're getting 4K up to 100 frames per second, which looks buttery smooth. I got a bunch of content of me actually capturing drones and other marine life. That was all in 4K 100 frames per second, and I went between, well, I pretty much used that 3 times the majority of the time because I wanted to keep away from them and zoom in. So that was a great example of utilizing that medium telephoto system, but still being able to use 4K 100 frames per second. So again, I love it that it's not limited. They both have pretty much the same offering when it comes to the features and functionality. And then if you want to use 1080p, you can go up to 200 frames per second. So buttery smooth footage. Yes, I would prefer to go for 4K 100, but if you really want to go that 200, if you've got something going super fast and you really want to slow it down, 1080p, 200 frames per second is also an option for you on both systems. And then the max video bitrate is 150 megabits per second. So when we do look at these 2 systems here, there are definitely some similarities, as I'm sure you've probably heard so far. Very similar when it comes to a few different things. Max video bitrate is the same, 4K 60 is the same here, but the Air 3 definitely stands out with that extra camera system and a few extra features that I'll get into very soon as well, which make this guy stand out a lot. So if we're talking about that progression again, I see the Mini 2 SE as that beginner point, the Mini 3 Pro as the intermediate, and then we've got the Air 3, which is the Pro offering. And now we're moving on to the ultimate offering here, which is the Mavic 3 Pro. This is if you want to take things even more seriously, and this is a tri-camera system. So we're talking 3 camera systems on a drone. For the ultimate offering, you are going to be going up in weight again a little bit more. This is 958 grams, and also the price is going to go up a lot more if you want to get something like the Mavic 3 Pro. So we are getting a 24mm equivalent, we're getting a 70mm and 166mm equivalent. So you are getting, like I said before, the same medium telephoto system as we saw on the Air 3, but you are getting a brand new wide angle. It's still the 24mm, but it is a wide angle 4/3 Hasselblad camera system. So one of the largest sensors I've ever used on a drone. It is remarkable. The quality is pristine. It's ultimate, as I've been deeming this guy here. And then we also get the telephoto, which is the 7x zoom. So instead of the medium tele, which is 3x, we're getting not just the wide angle, not just the 3x, but also the telephoto 7x. So you're spoiled for choice here, really. When we look at the Hasselblad camera system, which is the 4/3" CMOS sensor, this actually has adjustable aperture. So you've got f2.8 to f11. And I will say the Hasselblad camera system is remarkable. Really impressed with it. The image is just beautiful and it gives you so many options. And then if we go to the medium tele, that's the f2.8. Like I said, the same system that we saw on the Air 3. This is a 1/1.3" CMOS sensor, and it is the f2.8, like I said, the medium tele. And then if we go to the telephoto, which is that 7x zoom, which is the unique offering here on the Mavic 3 Pro, that is a 1/2" CMOS sensor with an f-stop of 3.4. So both the tele and the medium tele photo camera systems are the fixed aperture, where the Hasselblad 4/3 is actually an adjustable aperture system. When we look at the Hasselblad system, it's capable of 5.1K at 50 frames per second, and you also get 4K options up to 120 frames per second. So that's some really nice slow-mo, and I absolutely love using the Hasselblad camera system. If we look at the medium and the telephoto camera system, they're capable of capturing 4K at 60 frames per second. So they are three distinctly different camera systems. Like, it's not like you're using just one camera system and it's kind of cropping in. Like, these are three uniquely different camera systems, and you can utilize them at really any point. The only thing is you can't jump in mid-recording, so you can't go from the wide angle to the 3x to the 7x. You are kind of locked out with whatever you are doing. So, you know, that makes sense. But you can use pretty much, well, I think every single feature, like all the active track options, you know, even when I'm using like the cruise control and the waypoints, I can set it up in the 3x, the 7x, or the wide angle, and I can utilize whatever camera system I've got set up. So there aren't any major limitations I could see, regardless of what camera system you're using, besides the fact that that 5.1K seems to be exclusive to the Hasselblad wide angle, and then the 4K 60 is for the two other cameras. Another improvement here with the Mavic 3 Pro is we do get an increased max video bitrate, so it goes up to 200 megabits per second. So you're probably starting to notice that they're all, again, very distinctly different in their 4 different price points, in their 4 different expert levels. So we've got the beginner, the intermediate, the pro, and then the ultimate. I do want to comment on the fact that all 4 drones, even though there's a clear massive gap in price, they all fly really well. You know, like I wouldn't say that using the Mini 2 SE, I ever struggled in any wind condition. Like I can chuck this up in some crazy wind conditions and it handles it really well. The footage is always smooth. 3-axis gimbal on all 4 systems is reliable, and the flight experience is enjoyable on all 4 of them. Like I wouldn't say that because you're spending less, the flight experience is worse necessarily. Like definitely when you fly the Air 3 or the Mavic 3 Pro, you notice that it just commands the sky a lot more. It's got a lot more sensors, a lot more features. Battery life significantly improves, which I'll get into soon. But yeah, in terms of just its overall experience, like if you've never owned a drone before, the Mini 2 SE is a really good starting point, but it doesn't mean that it's a terrible flight experience just because it's cheaper than the others. The other thing to mention is that all 4 camera systems are usable. You know, like I said, with the Mini 2 SE, even though it's 2.7K, so it is less than the others, for most people, if you're a beginner and you're starting out, you're gonna be happy utilizing, you know, just a basic video to chuck onto social media or to share with your family and friends. The Mini 3 Pro is a little bit of a leg up again, but you know, if you want to take things more professionally and more seriously, the Air 3 I think is a really nice point between all of them, right? Because I think the Mavic 3 Pro, as amazing as it is, and one of the best drone experiences, let's say the best drone experience I've ever had. You know, it's just such an ultimate drone, but it is expensive, right? And you've got 3 camera systems. It's probably overkill for a lot of people. When I think about the Air 3, I think it ticks a lot of the boxes that a lot of people are looking for, especially if you own a drone and you've been holding out for an upgrade. I think the Air 3 is like a perfect point to upgrade for a lot of people out there. And I'll explain it a little bit more as we go on, but definitely let me know in the comments below if you've got any questions, and I will definitely clear everything up for you in the comments. The other thing to keep in mind is if you are based in Australia, I do have exclusive drone bundles for all 4 drones. So definitely go and check out the D1 Store's website. I'll have a link below below to check out those 4 different bundles. Really want to help out all my Aussie viewers out there, so definitely go and check those out. They are curated, customized bundles for my Australian audience, and like I said, they will be linked below. Photos on all 4 systems are, again, pretty usable for the most part. Like, you definitely will notice a difference if you're going to compare the 12 megapixel system here on the Mini 2 SE and then the 48 megapixel options that you have on the other 3 drones. But 12 megapixel stills, you do get the raw photo options. So if you've been following drones for a while, this Mini series here, like the Mavic Mini, even the Mini SE, like they didn't have those raw photo options. So the Mini 2 SE is a nice little kind of upgrade from those where you can capture raw images, and it is still the 12 megapixel stills though. So very similar performance to what you would have seen in the other Mini offerings before the Mini 2 SE. The Mini 3 Pro does have a big leap over the Mini 2 SE, so it can capture 48 megapixel stills, and you do get the raw images as well, and you get a few other photo options within it. But 48 megapixel stills, if you want to take photos a little bit more seriously, then the Mini 3 Pro is a nice upgrade over the Mini 2 SE. The Air 3 has a similar story again, 48 megapixels, but just like the Mini 3 Pro, you can capture 48 megapixel or 12 megapixel stills on any of the camera systems you're going to use here. So the Air 3, regardless of which system you're using, or the Mini 3 Pro can capture 48 megapixel or 12 megapixel stills. And again, you get the raw options and you get all the same kind of photo options that you get on the Mini 3 Pro. It does get a little bit different here when we look at the Mavic 3 Pro. You can capture 20 megapixel stills on the Hasselblad camera system. The medium teller, as you probably would have guessed by now, is the same as the Air 3 and, you know, even the Mini 3 Pro, where it comes down to 48 megapixels or 12 megapixels when we're utilizing that medium telephoto system. And then the unique offering, which is the telephoto system, which is the 7x zoom, can capture 12 megapixel stills on the Mavic 3 Pro. I did mention the digital zoom options that were available on both the Mini 2 SE and the Mini 3 Pro. But if we want to look at the Air 3, it does have 2 distinctly different focal points, which I mentioned briefly at the beginning of the video. So it is the 1x, which is the wide angle, and the 3x, but you can also utilize digital zoom, so you can actually go up to 9x. So if you're using that 3x system, which is the 70mm equivalent, you can go from the 3x and then punch it in even further to the 9x zoom. It does, you know, make it a little bit unusable because it's definitely cropping and definitely more artifacting and pixelation. But, you know, if you want to go with that, you can. I'm pretty happy with the 3x. Like, it does a really good job. And you can definitely see that with a lot of the whale content that I've got. That's just utilizing 3x, and I'm, you know, significantly far away from them, but just punching in with that 3x 70mm equivalent. So the zooming options get a little bit more serious again on the Mavic 3 Pro. We've got the wide angle, which is the 1x. We've got the medium telephoto, which is the 3x. And then we've got the telephoto, which is the 7x. But you can utilize the digital zoom on all 3 camera systems, and we can actually go up to 28x with the digital zoom, which is just honestly mind-blowing. But at that point, again, quality definitely does dip. You'll be very happy though with 7x. It's extremely impressive when you do punch it into 7x, and it's exciting to have those 3 different options on the Mavic 3 Pro. Let's talk about the range and the battery life on all 4 drones here. Again, this is where it gets quite different. So if we look at the Mini 2 SE, choosing a different battery system, and this is the same battery system we've seen in a lot of the other Mini options, the Mavic Mini, the Mini SE, and the Mini 2. Similar kind of system here, loads in from the back here, and you're actually getting 31 minutes of flight time, which is not terrible. You know, like, it's really good for a lot of people, especially if you get the Fly More kit and you get the 3 batteries. 31 minutes of flight time is not something to be ashamed of. You're also getting the OcuSync 2 technology, which is a nice improvement over the Mini SE. So you're actually getting 720p at 30 frames per second of live video feed to your controller, and you're also getting 10 kilometers of range here. So the Mini SE had 4 kilometers, which was using the advanced Wi-Fi. We're getting OcuSync 2 technology, and we're getting 10 kilometers of range here. So we're getting a really capable drone for such a small system, such a cheap system for what it is. You're getting a lot crammed into here. Really usable, and again, great for the beginner that wants to get into drones. So some of the limitations with the Mini 2 SE is you actually get no obstacle avoidance. So there's no sensors on here to avoid obstacles. You also get no vertical video options, no master shots, and also no asteroid quick shot mode. So there are some of the limitations, but you do still get a bunch of options in the Mini 2 SE. It is a feature-rich offering, considering it is very, very affordable for what you're getting, and it's just a reliable experience. Like I said, I've tested so many different drones, and yeah, I wouldn't say that this is a bad drone by any means. It's actually a fantastic drone to have in your kit, even if you do have one of the more expensive ones, but perfect for beginners. It really has everything you need if you're a beginner. The Mini 3 Pro, like you've probably figured out already, is a big leap over the Mini 2 SE. So you do actually have 2 different options for the battery system. This is the system that weighs under 250 grams. So this is just the default battery system, but you can also get a plus battery system that gives you even more flight time, but it takes you over the 250 gram weight point. So just keep that in mind if you do get a combination of the standard battery and the plus battery. So you'll either get 34 minutes of flight time with the standard battery or 47 minutes of flight time with that plus battery. As you can see, completely different battery system here to the Mini 2 SE. Really, really awesome when it comes to that battery life. You get so much flight time especially when you play with that plus battery, but even just for the standard, you're getting a few more minutes. So it's nice to kind of have a combination. I love to have the under 250 gram option with this battery and then to have a plus battery as well. The other big calling card here is that you're actually getting 3-way obstacle avoidance. So you're getting 2 forward, 2 at the rear, and also 2 facing down. So that actually means that you can utilize active track with this system, which is what you're not getting on the Mini 2 SE. So you're not getting active track and you're not getting obstacle avoidance on that Mini 2 SE. But with the intermediate, with the Mini 3 Pro, you are getting the 3-way obstacle avoidance, and you're also getting active track 4.0 with AUSSIES 4.0. So you are getting a really advanced active track system, and it does a great job. I've tested this on the channel. It's avoided everything. It's actually amazing what a small system like this can do. The other cool thing is that you do get master shots, and you also do get native vertical video. So that means that the camera system actually rotates so that it can capture vertical videos. So to me, that's a really big calling card. You can utilize all of the resolutions, capture 4K, 60, you can use like the active track with it. You can do all sorts. It's a really cool offering and something that actually makes this system a standout. So really cool to have that as an option as well. So the Mini 3 Pro also has something very unique that the other 3 camera systems, the other 3 drones don't have. Its SDK has been released to the public or released to developers. So that actually means that developers can create waypoints, follow modes, and other really cool advanced flight modes for the Mini 3 Pro. Again, at the time of me filming this, the others don't have it. And also the Mini 3 Pro isn't polished when it comes to the developers offering. The follow me isn't crazy reliable, and the waypoints works all right, but yeah, definitely hold off until those public releases. By the time this is released though, I have no idea if it's going to be fully released, but yeah, that's a unique offering that's exclusive for the Mini 3 Pro right now. The other thing that's cool is we are getting an improved OcuSync system. So you're getting OcuSync 3, and that is 1080p at 30 frames per second to your controller. You're also getting 12 kilometers of range. So it is a big improvement here. You're getting the option for a larger battery system. You're getting obstacle avoidance, active track, master shots, the SDK, all of those other things I've said. It is a nice improvement, and having that vertical video option natively is very, very useful for a lot of people, especially content creators who are posting those vertical videos, those reels and shorts and all those things. This just makes it so easy with the Mini 3 Pro, and it's such an enjoyable flight experience. It does such an amazing job in the sky. So we're getting a massive leap forward here with the Air 3. So we're actually getting 46 minutes of flight time with the battery system. It is a large battery system, but 46 minutes of flight time, very impressive stuff. And we're also getting omnidirectional obstacle avoidance. So that means that obstacle avoidance in every single direction. This system can avoid anything you want. It's also got the more advanced active track 5.0 with AUSSIES 5.0, really advanced system, and something impressive to see in action. But that is a big calling card here, that extra battery life and also the omnidirectional obstacle avoidance with the more advanced active track. And with that more advanced active track, you can actually choose which direction you want to track the subject from. So that's a big calling card if you want to change the direction that you're tracking someone from, or tracking a boat or whatever it may be. That is a big calling card here, and it actually matches the Mavic 3 Pro when it comes to that AUSSIES 5.0 and active track 5.0. Some of the other really big calling cards here is we're getting inbuilt waypoints into the Air 3. So this was released on the Mavic 3 series, even more of a pro offering here. We get cruise control, which is a really nice offering. We get the night mode, we get master shots, and you also get the vertical video option. So it basically crops the image, so it doesn't rotate the camera, but it crops it so you can go in 2.7K up to 60 frames per second, and also 1080p up to 60 frames per second. So it crops the image and you get that nice vertical image if you want to post online, but it is a feature-rich offering here with the Air 3. Like I said before, probably one of the best upgrades in a long time for a lot of people out there. It does have a lot going on. The other big thing here is this is the first drone with OcuSync 4. So 20 kilometers of range, and that is 1080p at 60 frames per second directly to your controller. OcuSync 4, 20 kilometers, wild stuff. Such an impressive offering here on the Air 3. And then going to the Mavic 3 Pro, it does have the same battery system as both the Mavic 3 and the Mavic 3 Classic. Nice large system here, 43 minutes of flight time. You are also getting the omnidirectional obstacle avoidance like we saw on the Air 3. So again, avoidance in every single which way direction that you can imagine. And on top of that, you're getting active track 5.0 and the AUSSIES 5.0 as well. You also do get waypoints, you get the cruise control option, you get night mode, and you get all of those other other features that I mentioned on the Air 3. So the big calling card here is the fact that you do have the larger camera system and the extra options. If you do want to, play around with the active track or the waypoints or whatever it may be, you do have those different options here with the camera systems. So that's really nice, but we don't actually have OcuSync 4 on this guy here. We have OcuSync 3 Plus. So what that means is that you're getting 15 kilometers of range and you're getting the 1080p at 60 frames per second to your controller. So it isn't as advanced, oddly enough, as the Air 3. This guy actually stands out when it comes to that OcuSync 4 and a very, very impressive system overall. So, both these guys here, we've got the Pro and we've got the Ultimate, but I would say that the Air 3 is good for a lot of people, especially if you are upgrading from, like, let's say the Air 2, even the original Air 1, like the original Mavic Pro, the Mavic 2 Pro, like any mini drone really, like this is a big upgrade. You're getting a lot here and it isn't breaking the bank as much as the Mavic 3 Pro. So by the end of this video, you're probably wanting to take a breather. I'm definitely the same as well. There's so much. Your mind's probably spinning. That's 4 distinctly unique drones. Like I said, I will have the link in the description below to check them out on the D1 store. If you're based in Australia, definitely check that out. But 4 distinctly different drones that serve a purpose for all different people. They're all fantastic drones and you're going to be happy with whichever drone you decide on. Like definitely go with your gut, ask yourself, what am I using this for? Like for example, if you just want to go on a family holiday occasionally, you probably don't need the Mavic 3 Pro unless you have a lot of money, right? You probably don't need it. So, something like the Mini 3 Pro or the Mini 2 SE is going to do the job. But if you want to upgrade, I would actually say that the Air 3 is the upgrade for most people out there. This is the latest offering. It's the most advanced offering when it comes to that OcuSync 4. You're still getting omnidirectional obstacle avoidance. You're getting a very unique camera system here. You're getting a bunch of options, including the waypoints and the master shots and everything else, and that awesome flight time as well with that very impressive battery system. So yeah, the Air 3 I think is the standout if you are wanting to upgrade, but don't disregard the cheaper two. The Mini 3 Pro, still one of my favorite drones, and the Mini 2 SE is probably the best beginner drone. So definitely consider those. Ask yourself the question, what am I using this for? And hopefully this has helped you. If you got any other questions, leave those comments below and I will definitely get to them when I get a chance. I appreciate all of your amazing support and I will chat to you in the next one. Peace.